I think what he has also taught me and what you can learn from this is patience, obedience, trust when you surrender your plans. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Outside is crazy right now. Hi guys, it's Kanique here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are talking about something a little bit different. I'm actually going to talk about the Daniel fast that I went on. So it was the 21-day Daniel fast that I went on in January. I'm a little bit nervous to talk about it, but I just want to give my testimony about what happened, why I went on the fast, and kind of what's been happening with me. Just want to share the experience. I am gonna go back and forth with my notes here and what I've taken during that time, and also because I want to explain things properly because I was very new to doing this fast. What is the Daniel fast? And I'm assuming a lot of you either don't know, or maybe you just finished, or you're thinking about starting. And what that is, it's a biblically based partial fast which is inspired by the prophet of Daniel's experiences in the book of Daniel's chapter 1 verse 10 in the Bible. Basically, Daniel and his friends refused the royal food and wine and instead only ate vegetables and drank water as an act of obedience and devotion to God. What had happened was me, my sister, her best friends, and my friends as well, and my cousin, we all did the 21-day Daniel fast together. We sat down and everybody had their own thing that they wanted to work on during this time. And this was in end of December, beginning of December. We wrote down everything that we wanted to be changed in our lives. So for example here, I actually use a sketchbook to write down all my ideas, brain dump, everything. I kind of put what things are hard for me I can give to God. Basically, it was my anxiety, depression, finances, worry, work, and energy. So those are my things I was giving away that I wanted to be, I guess, removed from my life, or in a sense wanted them to improve and be better on, or taken out. What I did during this fast was, it is a 21-day fast that focuses on eating simple and natural foods, mostly fruit, vegetables, legumes, and water. And you remove rich processed foods and meats. And it's not just about the food, it's about devoting and drawing closer to God, hearing his voice more clearly, and strengthening your spirit through prayer, worship, and guidance. The times that you either, if you decide not to eat for a certain amount of time, you would be praying and worshiping or doing whatever you feel spiritually called to in your relationship with God. For me, it was hard because I didn't realize how much a processed food I was eating and how much, I guess, junk. To cut that all out was extremely difficult for me, and I kept saying, like, I'm never doing this again, but honestly, it was well worth it in the end. That being said, eating fruits, vegetables, and water all the time could be hard, but once you, like, some of the recipes I had put in ChatGPT, we had found guidebooks that had really great recipes for the Daniel fast. Now there's some people who do a really extreme, I don't want to say a strict version of this, and some may cut out certain things, so it really depends, but we really focused on the foods that we were eating. Almost not everything that I was finding is made in Canada fully, I would say, clean. There was some give and take, but for the most part, 21 days, only fruits, vegetables, legumes. In terms of bread and anything like that, I always stuck with I either made my own pitas or we did the Ezekiel bread. That bread was fine. So it's really up to you and your preference and what your body can actually handle, because it is through your own relationship with God. So I don't want to be super strict and tell you this is what you can and cannot eat. So a few months ago, I felt like it was a time for a complete reset and a change of my life. In November, I had broken up with my boyfriend of 4 years, and then I was struggling with a job that I didn't feel connected to, and I didn't feel I was in God's purpose doing this job, and I was doing it for 3 years. And as you guys know, almost 5 years ago, I really wanted to start my own business. I had posted that and I was ready to, like, jump ship, but I guess for some reason there was that fear, there was that scare, that scarcity mindset, and I wasn't fully trusting in God. And I think when my cousin and my sister brought up the fast, I was like, I need a change. Like, I need to get closer with God, because I felt like my relationship had changed and it became like less and less about him, and it was always me, or I had always put my boyfriend first. I just found I was not happy from October to November, December. I was not in the right mindset. Once I decided to commit to the Daniel fast, that's when I think my dreams changed, my idea of life changed, who I was listening to changed. I even kind of removed like time from social media, and I really focused on watching Christian YouTube channels and like people speaking in Christian business owners and how they were led by their faith basically. I asked for clarity, purpose, I asked for a breakthrough in my career. I worked for the CRA and I was on the phone all day from, I think it was like 8.5 hours a day or 7.5 hours. No, I worked 8. Sorry, let me rephrase. I worked 8 hours and only got paid for 7.5, and I was on the phone all day listening to people who didn't have any money to get any groceries. It kind of broke my heart, and I was like, I feel like I just can't help these people. So it just wasn't fulfilling me, and listening to these people be upset made me more upset, which is so bad, but I was taking work at home. There were moments where I wanted to give up. I wanted to eat something that I wasn't supposed to. I think the first 3 days I tried to do the Esther fast before I started the Daniel, and I failed the first day and I was really upset about it. But then I said, you know what, just hop on the Daniel fast as soon as possible and we'll get it going. I did have doubts because I feel like a lot of my friends were getting more revelations and like getting things in their dreams and starting to understand things. And this was like in the middle of the fast. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not seeing anything. And then almost by the time the fast was done, I was like, I really don't feel like I got complete clarity. However, I will say God was speaking to me throughout the entire time, and I literally journaled as much as I could, and every time I woke up and had a dream, I would write it down, and then I would go in ChatGPT and be like, what does this mean biblically? I'm not sure if you guys do that. And then I would write down things. I journaled my breakup, I journaled verses that I studied, I journaled so much. This was like one of the things I received. Think of yourself in a box. You've been consistently put down every day of your life. The box has mirrors, and everything you do turn to someone tells that you are not good enough. Each time it's the devil as you were behind the glass mirror, and when you pray to God for guidance, because he is the only one that can confirm you are good enough. Because he already gave you your craft and your gifts. It was perfect for you. He made you perfect and whole. When you do it with God, he gives you the hammer to throw at those mirrors, devils, and spirits, to break those generational curses, and you open up the box and you are fully healed. And you are fully trusting in God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. And you are free from being condemned by yourself because you are new, full of light. Literally wrote that down. There are a few other things I felt like I heard was fighting in the spiritual realm and putting on the armor of God. So I feel like I did receive like many revelations. Some of them are a little bit personal, but denounce those things. Don't doubt God's given purpose. There are distractions. Let me see if I have something. Like trust without seeing. Lean on God to be in your life. God is always first. You may feel lonely. God knows our grievances. He is outside of the time. Each plan will prosper you. God's plans are better planned for us, purposeful. Build your character, and you were already going through this journey, leaning on these hard times. So there's like literally so much in here. I should probably like put it in a book and maybe just like hand it to you guys. Leaned into trusting him, and I leaned into learning to trust him and learning to put my faith first. And like no man really can do the things that God can do for you. So learning that was really, I don't want to say difficult, but it was hard to switch my mind that I don't have control of my life, that God has control of my life. Obviously, I will make decisions that influence that, but listening to him, hearing his word, and like guiding myself in those times probably are more beneficial and will help me walk with God. The fast had ended and I felt like people outside. So when the fast ended, I felt like I didn't, you know, get my revelation, my big revelation. Like I thought I was gonna get my big idea and then I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. I just kind of heard God say, have faith and be bold. And that was kind of what my revelation was. It was a couple of days after the fast and all my friends had gotten their purpose, revelation, or explored their relationship and felt more connected. And I did feel like my faith grew. However, I was still kind of, I think I was in doubt mode. I did this fast and I thought like, I'm gonna do this, or I thought this was gonna happen, and like, it was kind of dead. A week goes by, so let's say this is the first week in February, and I was like, I am so done with my job. I was like, I had just gotten a raise, probably the biggest raise I have, and I was like, I'm so done. I don't think I can do this. I'm so stressed out. I'm missing work because like I don't want to go there. I don't want to work there. I really had asked them like, okay, what can you guys do? They were like, we can't do anything. We're on a strict budget. So I said, I don't know what to do. My sister is an influencer, and then I thought, you know, maybe that's my path. Like maybe I need to become an influencer. Like this is what I need to do. Like I need to quit my job and do this. That is literally what I thought. So for the first week of February, I was like, okay, I'm ready to quit my job. I'm ready. I'm done. So I wrote up my notice, and I was like, my 2 weeks notice, and I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm never gonna be coming back. I'm gonna become an influencer. I'm just gonna like do the struggle. I'm ready for it. I have faith. This is what I'm telling myself. I write up my 2 weeks letter, and then I close my laptop, and I was like, I'm done. When me and my sister first moved into our apartment building, I was looking at their social media and I was like, oh, we could totally help them. We should pitch to them. And this was an idea I had since I had moved into the building, but I had never, I never acted on it because I make pitch decks, but I never acted on it. It was just a thought, and I always said like, I'm gonna get around to this. I closed my laptop and I was like, okay, I'm done with this job. I should probably check if there's other jobs, like just in case. I looked in Toronto if there was any jobs. I typed in social media, just like maybe events, like anything that I had kind of gone to school for that I liked, fashion, buying, all of that. I didn't see too much, and I didn't see any that like sparked my interest, and the salary was less than what I was making for my original job. So I was like, there's no way. Look in like the area that I live. So I type in the city and I type in social media. And then I see that my building comes up. They're looking for an events coordinator and social media manager. And I was like, that's so interesting. And I looked at the job description and everything, and I was like, I have all this experience. It was like someone who's proficient in Canva, somebody who knows social media, has been doing it for 2 years, somebody who's planned events. I help out with all my sister's events, and it was literally everything I do for my sister behind the scenes. It was for this job. I was like, I need to apply. I sent it to my sister. She was like, wow, this is literally like a job that you can do. I sent it to my sister. I called in sick for work, and I made my pitch deck right then and there. I did my resume. I did everything within like 2 hours. I'm like, whatever I gotta do this. I finish it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna print it out. I'm gonna email it. So I emailed it. 2 days goes by. Like, okay, I don't hear anything. Then I heard, be bold. I was like, what? And I heard like, you know, be bold. And I'm like, oh, I should go downstairs and introduce myself again. Like as that I applied, because the girls know me very well. And I went downstairs, and I had seen that, so there were 3 girls that work there, and I was a little hesitant with one of them because I didn't know if she actually liked me. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait. And then I walked away with my stuff, and I said, whatever, I'll come back. So then the next night, I was supposed to have my friend come over. He ended up canceling, and then I ended up going to like the mall after work or whatever. And then I had my resume with me, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go down. I go down, the other girl was there, and I walked in, and I was like, hi, how are you? Like, let's say her name is Stacy. I'm like, hi Stacy, how are you? She's like, hi Kanique, oh my god. like, how are you? I was like, I'm good. And then I told her, I'm like, hey, I seen that you guys were hiring. I applied. I haven't heard anything. So I just wanted to like hand in my resume again. And then she was like, you know what? Just email it to me and I'll forward it to our manager. And I was like, okay, perfect. Then I didn't hear anything, I think like for 2 days. And I get an email like, hey, would you like to come in for an interview? And so I said yes. I went for the interview. This was on Friday. I went for the interview the following Monday. Me and the property manager and the leasing manager get on so well. And they both were really excited about my pitch deck. They loved my resume. They had already seen my social media stuff and they were like ecstatic. They were like, we would love you to work for us. And it just was perfect sense. And I couldn't believe that I had quit my job and then the following week I got hired somewhere else. And all I could think was, this has to be God. I also was a little hesitant before taking it because of the pay cut it was for my original job, but I said this is a job that I can put on my portfolio. This is a job I can have on LinkedIn that would really show what I'm capable of, and then maybe later on, or I could also possibly grow in this company. So I had to frame it like that, and I had to let go of, God really told me to let go of finances. And learning to let go of that, I haven't struggled in a sense where, yes, I may not have enough right now, but it has made me just like, I don't worry. I'm like, you know what? I don't have it, so I'm just not going to go to this. Or I don't have it, I'm just not going to spend it. And I've become a lot more responsible, I would say. Still are some learning habits, but definitely a lot better than it was before. However, back to the original story. I got hired. I did tell them an extra week, so that way I had a week to myself, and that way when I quit, everything was done with my previous job. So the job is in my building, so where I do live. I don't want to give that away for security reasons, but so the job is in my building, and I literally work from home again, but it's different. So I still get to leave my house, but then I get to come up and have lunch. Really good. I get to do what I love. I get to do the social media. I get to plan the events. I have full throttle, everybody. So I've been here for about 2 months now, and I love my job. I just feel like so much more at peace. I feel so much calmer. The girls are good. My manager is great. The company I work for is wonderful. And I'm just like happy that I have this peace. And I cannot tell you it is because of God, and it has to be because of the fast, because there's no way I would have received this job if I didn't go through with that, and if I didn't have faith to leave my job. And I just got news last week that if I want to make commission and do other things in the company, that I'm able to. So now I'm also in the position to make more money than I ever made at my previous job. But I wanted to wait to do this testimony because I just wanted to give clarification of how life has been since then. And I just feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder in terms of going to work, and being stressed was such a struggle for me. And that was something I was battling with, and learning that I had these doubts with God, and I was like, He's working in everybody's life right now but mine. And I was feeling that, and it was really hard, and I was trying not to. I was like so happy for everyone else, and I was like, oh, when's my time? And then I just think trusting God's timing is so important, and learning that He has so much to give you, and if you just trust and have faith in whatever He's telling you to do. God told me to leave that job 3 years ago. I had on my finger probably 3 times that I was supposed to leave that job, and I'll talk about that in a different video. And I didn't listen, and I didn't understand. And then now that I fully am in the Word, fully reading my Bible, learning to understand, having Christian friends and mentors I can go to and speak about this has been wondrous to have more knowledge. I've been a Christian since I was born. And I feel like I know God now differently than I did in my 20s. And I'm sure each relationship grows. But I just think that it's crazy that what I asked for actually happened. And to have this blessing, I can only give it to God. If you are leaning towards the Daniel fast, or you're thinking about the Esther fast, I have not done yet. However, I have done a 10-day water fast. I will say the 21-day Daniel fast really helped my devotion to God, and I will honestly do it probably almost every year in January before the year starts. But it really helped me to learn to devote that time, learn about food and nourishing your body, because it is a temple. Body is a temple of Christ. He has also taught me, and what you can learn from this is patience, obedience, trust when you surrender your plans. I had plans because I was like, oh, I got this raise, so this is gonna help me do this and this. And he was like, no, you're not even getting that raise. You're not even staying at this company. I just found out that they are laying people off, so I would have got laid off anyway. So trusting God's timing, being obedient, patient. I had to be so patient and it was killing me, but I was like, you know what? Literally when the fast ended, I was like, you know what? I didn't get mine, but maybe next year. And I don't want to think that you're going to get something out of every fast, because I did learn lessons, but I never would have thought I would have got out of like a city or a government job and ended up in a corporate setting. I just never thought that. And so for him to put that in me and allow me to be creative and like use the gifts that he gave me is like so crazy. I just want to say, if you are in this season of waiting, of praying for that breakthrough, it is going to happen, and possibly doing the fast can maybe give you some clarity to it. It definitely cleared my mind up, and it probably could clear yours up. Just to finish some things off here, I did have some notes. I wanted to let you know that God is working even when you can't see it. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you did the Daniel fast and you received a testimony. Let's share our testimonies all over the world so people can see that he is working, and he is working hard. And I'd love to hear your stories too. So yes, so stay tuned. If there was any other questions you had about my fast or anything else you wanted to know, I could definitely make a video on it. I could definitely maybe bring my friends, my cousin, my sister on it. I think it'd be a great conversation to have. Get more people like learning about fast in general, because this was my first time doing a group fast, and that is something too. So I'm also gonna leave you with a scripture, Isaiah 43:19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and the streams of the wasteland. And I can honestly say that's how it was for me. He made a way, and he will make a way for you too. So I just want to thank you all for listening, and I hope that this video helped you out. And like I said before, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any other questions, just drop them down below, or you can send me an email or direct message me. Bye for now.